Hello learners and welcome to another week at CPDLF. This week you're going to be completing units 5.5 and 5.6. Right here, the Trent Affair and Civil War, Union Blockade, and Hostilities. So unit 5.5 is a small project. It's just a short essay. Remember, don't be afraid of the word project. So basically you're looking up information on the Trent Affair, the circumstances behind it. So you can talk about maybe the interception of the British mail steamer, the Trent, the Confederate diplomats who were held as prisoners. That would get you a good start, and how the affair affected the relationship between the United States and Great Britain. So those would be things to definitely consider as you're writing. It doesn't have to be 500 words. It just needs to make sure that you cover everything. Okay, Unit 5.6 is Civil War, Union Blockade, and Hostilities. And there's a lot of information in here. There's some great information describing the Civil War, the different battles, the hostilities, the strategies, the different leaders, how it went from McDowell to McClellan, and there's tons of great information in here. So I wanted to pick out something to share with you guys that will get you kind of started on this. So we're going to talk about the Merrimack versus the Monitor, because it actually is a little bit confusing because both ships are start with the letter M, and they're both ironclad ships, and you kind of need to understand the importance of this and how this really did save the Union. This is a huge thing. Okay, so let's watch the video.
This battle was the result of the Civil War's most important arms race. The Confederate Navy Secretary, Stephen Mallory, knew the North would establish a blockade all along the southern coast, so he called for a secret weapon, an iron warship that could take on all the wooden ones. But how to do it? No ironworks in the South could build an engine strong enough to power an all-metal ship. But up in the Norfolk, Virginia Navy Yard, there was the hull of a Union ship named the Merrimack that had been burned in a panic by the North when the Southern armies moved on the yard. Her huge engines were completely intact, and the South raised her and built on her hull a 140-foot-long metal fort holding 10 heavy guns. It hobbled the railway system of the entire Confederacy, but they had it built and floating by early 1862. The North got wind of what the South was up to and rushed to make its own ironclad. A brilliant Swedish-born inventor named John Ericsson had a revolutionary plan for a new kind of ship. It would be made completely of iron and have a revolving turret that would let it fire at an enemy no matter which way the ship was pointing. Ericsson called it the Monitor. And now Abraham Lincoln comes into the story. He liked Ericsson's idea and went along when it was pitched to the North's newly formed ironclad board. Without his support, the ship would probably never have been built. Ericsson had to build the most complex machine ever made at the time, and his contract gave him only 100 days to do it. The Monitor was bolted together in Brooklyn, and Ericsson made his deadline. Both sides knew they were in a race, and the Merrimack won. She steamed out from Norfolk into Hampton Roads on March 8th and made right for the frigate Cumberland, one of the most powerful ships in the Union Navy. The Yankee cannonballs bounced off the Merrimack's iron sides, and the rebel ship sank her in half an hour. The Merrimack went on to destroy another frigate. It was the U.S. Navy's worst defeat until Pearl Harbor, 80 years later. But the next morning, the Monitor was there. She'd had a horrible voyage down from Brooklyn, nearly sank twice on the way, and her crew hadn't slept for 48 hours when she got to Hampton Roads. But she steamed right in to meet the Merrimack. The two ships fought for 4 hours, while 10,000 Union and Confederate troops watched from the shore. Then the Union skipper was wounded, and the Monitor briefly withdrew. The Merrimack thought she was retreating and headed for home. Both sides later claimed victory. But the fact is that the Union blockade still stood, and the Merrimack never fought again. The battle helped save the Union. If the Merrimack had broken the blockade, England might well have come in on the side of the Confederacy, and no battle ever changed the naval world so fast and so completely. Every other navy on Earth realized that their ships were obsolete. A few weeks later, the British Navy halted construction on all its wooden warships, and a 2,000-year-old tradition came to an end. Ericsson's inventions, his metal ship, his revolving turret, will be with us for decades, perhaps centuries to come.
Okay, so this provides you with a good sort of starting point in the lesson. Like I said, the Merrimack versus the Monitor, 2 ironclad ships. This is a huge thing for both the Union and the Confederacy. And like I said, they're going to talk about strategies that are going to continue with the war, the different generals, the different battles. So this is a very, very, very important unit. Okay, so make sure you take your time, you read through it. You can look up other videos to describe things like I just showed you. There's a ton of wealth of information out there on the Civil War. Okay, so any questions or concerns, reach out to me. Please make sure that you are remembering the end of the school year is May 25th. And you need to make sure that you're keeping up with the progress you should be making. Realistically, how much do you need to do to finish the year? Okay, we should be up around 81% now. So you need to, if you're only at 50%, you need to take about the 8 weeks left. You see there's 50% left, take the 8 into the 50, and you figure, wow, you know, I need to do quite a bit until the end of the school year. Okay, low scoring assignments, make sure you're redoing those. But like I said, sort of make yourself a chart. If you are where you need to be, then you're in great shape. If you see that you are like 10% behind, then you need to do an extra percent or 2 each week to get caught up. But you need to make sure you have a game plan so that when May 25th at midnight happens and the program shuts down, you're at that 100%. Okay, so any questions or concerns, reach out to me. Have a great week. Thanks. Bye.